Sorry.
Yes, I am.
Hello and welcome to the PS Lifestyle Wellness Podcast, Wellness in Your World. PS Lifestyle Wellness is an exciting and visionary project breaking new ground within the wellness industry, and it combines our resource-efficient wellness club with our online wellness programs. So whilst our design and build move forward, we bring you the PS 5 areas of wellness online. Conversations about real wellness, no fads, no trends. We cleared the fog that can make wellness seem so confusing and intimidating. So if you're into facts, credibility, expertise and a bit of humour, stay tuned for some wellness in your world. I'm Lindsay McKenzie.
I'm Pamela Griffin, and together we are co-founders of PS Lifestyle Wellness. And we are thrilled to welcome Spa Consultant Extraordinaire Kirsty MacCormick to the Wellness in Your World podcast. With an impressive expertise in the spa and wellness industry spanning more than 25 years, a decade of which was spent operating and managing spas in Asia Pacific region, Kirsty has a plethora of experience and skills from operations and management, financial and budget prep, employee development and motivation, as well as a love and knowledge of spa and wellness from a hands-on perspective. As Director of Spa, Kirsty has managed some of the world's most renowned and outstanding spas, including Mandarin Oriental in Beijing and Tokyo, and the Old Course at St Andrews in Scotland. She's also a very successful businesswoman and entrepreneur in her own right, founding and owning a thriving and award-winning nail and beauty therapy company in Edinburgh. Now, on here it now says applause, applause, applause. So I think we're clap now.
Thank you, thank you, thank you.
We can actually add to that list as of today as well. It's very exciting that we can announce that Kirsty has agreed to join the PS team, which we are absolutely thrilled about, and also become one of our advisors on our board. So you can add that to your impressive list of on your CV there, Kirsty. So thank you for joining us today.
No, thank you. Lovely to be on board.
Well, it's great. I mean, we've known each other, Kirsty, for quite a few years through the industry, and it's just lovely to be able to to work with people who are very like-minded, and that's what PS is all about. So we're thrilled that you're able to join us, and you've just moved back to Edinburgh.
My goodness, wonderful to be home. I just can't keep the smile off my face. I think that's, you know, and my dad used to always say that, get back to bonnie Scotland, come on. You know, he just loved it here, and it is lovely to be back home as well. It makes me smile.
Good. Oh, that's great. I mean, you know, we in the sort of preamble there, obviously we mentioned quite a few places around the world that you've worked, and you know, tell us a bit more about that. What a career you've had so far. It's fabulous.
And really, it's all just kind of happened organically. It wasn't really something that I went out to look for. I started my career as a therapist when I was 17 years old. First job with Clarins in Jenner's.
Oh.
You know, very iconic Jenner's in Princess Street. Absolutely loved it. What an amazing training. And from there, I've almost just fallen into or met some incredible people within the industry who put me forward for jobs, that have headhunted me for jobs. I worked for Champneys for a while with Joe Parker, again, one of my mentors, you know, fantastic boss, you know, at Champneys. And then at Mandarin Oriental. What a company, first company that I'd ever sat with that told me what they were going to be doing in Spa in 5 years' time. Spa was an actual cornerstone of the whole, you know, hotel focus and strategy. I'd never heard of that before, you know, that they actually use Spa to bring a certain type of guest into the hotel. So that understanding, you know, I went almost from London in Champneys Tring to Tokyo. I mean, what a difference, you know, and a culture shock. I think management style from, you know, culture shock, absolutely, but definitely a different management style as well. And I think traveling so many countries, I think it makes you, you know, you have to really think about, you know, the type of people that you're managing, and you have to be flexible in your management style and not just go in and say, this is the way that I do things. You know, you're not going to get things done. So interesting, and working with such amazing budgets and spas. I mean, Mandarin Tokyo, I think still to this day is probably one of the best spas in the world. I mean, it's in the top.
What makes it so good, Kirsty? Sorry to interrupt. What makes it so good?
Well, normally spas are built in the basement, aren't they? They've got no windows, they've got no light. And Ingo Schwader, who was my boss at the time in Mandarin Oriental, was such a visionary and still is to this day within spa and wellness, that he really pushed forward with his thinking and you know, the concepts that he wanted to bring forward. And he pushed forward that Mandarin Tokyo would have its spa on the 37th and 38th floors off the Mitsukoshi building within the middle of Ginza. Now, normally on the top of the hotel, you would have the presidential suite, the most expensive suite in the hotel, but they didn't. They had the spa. So you can imagine that you would have saunas, vitality pools, treatment rooms that had corner views across the city. And a city that where space is, you know, you're really fighting for space. Everything is built on top of each other. So you had this feeling of space on the top of the building. So absolutely amazing. But I mean, also Japanese therapists are absolutely unbelievable. I mean, it's the first spa that I've ever ran that I would go in at 7 o'clock in the morning and all the therapists are in the treatment rooms practicing. Wow. When you didn't even have to tell them, you know, that's unbelievable. That work ethic is just second to none. So the delivery of the treatments, the training, the spec on the property, the service, Japanese service, I think even in your local little noodle bar is 5-star. So getting a 5-star hotel with that, you know, level of product and delivering that kind of service is just unbelievable. And we would have a lot of guests that would actually end up in tears. You know, they just had such an amazing experience there. Wow. Expensive, but amazing.
Yes, I can imagine.
Yeah, I think we were sitting about probably £500 a massage, and that was 15 years ago. So, yeah, but quite an amazing experience. And then obviously working through to Mandarin Oriental Beijing, which was another iconic project. I spent it was the year before the Olympics in Beijing, so you can imagine what was happening. There was development happening. All the taxi drivers were trying to practice their English on us, you know, whereas before they weren't bothered. Just the buzz and the excitement around the city. So that was such an amazing time. And starting off in a pre-opening team in Mandarin Beijing, there was actually only 7 of us. So general manager, sales and marketing, F&B rooms. So starting off something that is so small in these very basic offices to building something that's quite iconic. And following on from there, I ended up going back to work for Ingo Schwader. He was working then as CEO of Spa Consultant, and that's really where I learned how to do projects before the pre-opening. So to do more space planning and to do more development work, really, really interesting. So we opened and developed a lot of spas when I was at Spa Consultant for 2 years. From India to Guam and Saipan, we were doing things in Vegas, we were doing things in Thailand, we were just all over the place. So 80% I would say on the road, traveling, which was so exciting at the time. Yeah. Don't know if I could do it now, but it was amazing, getting flights at 5 in the morning and then going straight to meetings and, you know, that kind of thing. But so exciting, some of the projects that we were working on. And from there, I was then approached about working for a company called Onyx Hospitality. It was a new umbrella company that had started. They actually owned Onyx. They owned Amari Hotels and Resorts, which is quite a famous chain of hotels within Thailand, Asia Pacific, and I developed 2 spa brands for them during my time there, and I was there for 2 years, a 4-star brand and a 5-star brand, which are still getting rolled out today. So that's also nice that we developed something from the small tiles to the uniforms to the design to, you know, what the beds were going to look like, to the, you know, the absolutely everything within the spa product. We did a private label product for the brand as well, and that's still getting rolled out today. Last time I was in Thailand, I went to meet the team who'd working in the Koh Samui property. And they were so excited to meet me because I had developed the spa, and it was just so cute. They were still in the uniforms that we designed, and the menu was still the same design. You know, it's just lovely to see that continuing. And those spas are all over the world now. They're in Sri Lanka, they're in Doha, there's more coming in Malaysia, there's some in China now, there's some in India. So really nice to see that being rolled out. Mm-hmm. And then from there, I actually came home. So I decided that 10 years in Asia was more than enough. I told my parents I would do 4 and I did 10. And I think the more that you're away, the more you feel that you're getting further away from family and friends. And it was just really time for me to come home, even though I had such an amazing lifestyle. And I remember saying to friends, this is the dream lifestyle, you know, living in Thailand, living in Bangkok at the time, traveling the world was really a dream lifestyle. But you do miss people, you know, and you miss your home and you miss your roots. And I miss Scotland, so decided to come home. And since then, I've done various roles. I've worked for product companies. I have worked in projects. I have worked as director of spa. I have started my own company within Edinburgh. And back to Edinburgh now. So I've been in London for the last 4 years. So lovely to be back home and basically doing what I love. And I think that's the part of my job now, is that, you know, you get to work with so many amazing people. And you get to kind of choose a little bit who you work with as well, which is amazing, because I've had this conversation with so many people recently that, you know, we just want to work with people that really inspire you, that you really like to work with, and that really are like-minded. And I think that's so important, you know, for your own well-being as well, that you're aligned with the company. You know, I've worked for some amazing companies, but I have to say they're not all amazing. They don't all treat their staff well. They don't all, you know, they don't run companies sometimes the way they should be. And sometimes, you know, you need to be aligned with that, or you're going to have issues within that company. And it's not good for your wellness, you know. And I think that's really important as well, that you need that excitement and being inspired in your work as well. And I'm almost at a point now where it doesn't feel like work.
Yeah.
And I think when it doesn't feel like work, that's amazing, because you get up every day, you get to do something that's you know, amazing, and get paid for it.
Hey. Really? Is that what happens? Nobody's told that.
Sometimes.
Tell us about the nail yard, Kirsty, because obviously while you've been traveling the world and opening spas and all that, you've got a business right here in Edinburgh as well.
Sure, yeah. So the nail yard was started 6 years ago, and it was a little bit of a dream of mine to come back and to open up a brand and something similar to what I'd seen out in Asia. And I think the difference really for me is that people save up here to go for a massage or a facial. And it's a way of life over there. So we'd be walking down the street, you know, with some girlfriends. We've had lunch, we've had coffee, we've had a couple of wines. You go and have a foot massage. That's the norm, you know, and you feel amazing after that. You wouldn't actually, you know, go out and book it or look forward to it. It's just part of your you know, it's part of your week, or it's part of your month that you would do something like that. And I wanted to bring something that would be affordable, that would bring a little bit of well-being to High Street really, and that people could, you know, just pop in. And first of all, I was thinking, let's do foot massage. Let's maybe do, you know, maybe back massage, shoulder massage. Let's do something like that that's a little bit more affordable. There's a brand in America that did really well with it, Massage Envy. You know, they brought massage to the High Street, made it very affordable. It was more a membership. You know, you paid a certain amount every month, and then you could have a couple of massages. But really, when I did the market research, so important to do your market research, obviously, when you're starting a new business. But really what I saw, or what I figured out, is that Scotland wasn't quite ready to do massage on a regular basis. It was still thought of as a luxury. And the only treatment really, or one of the very few treatments that from 10-year-olds to 90-year-olds is nails. So we thought if we could develop a nail treatment that had a little bit more well-being and a little bit more massage, and you know, it was a quality and it was authentic, and you know, we're using amazing products, then we could bring that to the High Street. And that's really what the nail yard was all about. So we have fully trained therapists in there doing nail treatments, not just nail tech. So there is quite a bit of massage in it. The whole concept was about making it eco-friendly. So we tried to find the best brands possible with the least amount of chemicals. Sterilization was really important, that we would pre-pack and sterilize all the implements, and that would be opened in front of the guest. And the design actually of the spa as well, or of the nail salon, is it's all reclaimed wood, it's metal, so it actually looks like a yard, and it's got a lot of flowers in it as well. And our therapists wear dungarees and Converse. Mm-hmm. So you know, a little bit unique, and it's a lovely salon. You know, it's in Morningside. We've got a lot of regular customers that come to us. Unfortunately, we've been closed.
Yeah.
We're hoping to reopen at the end of April, but yeah, we'll get that back up and running again.
Shamelessly plug it, Kirsty. Give us the full address so people can look you up.
Really? Can I?
Yeah, of course you can.
38 Morningside Road, and we would love to see you all there once we reopen. And the nailyard.com is the address. Yes, absolutely. You can book online.
Before Christmas last year, Kirsty very kindly let me take my niece, who is in the process of finishing her application for Edinburgh College for beauty therapy, just to go in and have a little look around and kind of get an idea of what a living and working spa salon actually looks like. So thank you for letting us do that, Kirsty. That was really good.
You're very welcome. I think that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's about getting the next generation of therapists, giving them as much knowledge and information as possible.
Yeah. I don't know what to say after all of that, Lindsay.
No, yeah, stop now. Just hit record. That's it, done. Thanks.
What have I been doing for the last 20 years?
What about?
No, I mean, joking aside,
I'm feeling tired.
Yeah, well, that's why you've come home. Joking aside, though, I mean, I've done a bit of traveling for work myself, so I do understand. You get to that point where you don't want to lose the shine off what you've done and how it's been, and you just know when the time is right. So we're delighted that you've decided to come back, because you're part of our team now, which is great.
Of course.
So it's something that Lindsay and I are really passionate about with PS is doing something that's very different. And you've kind of touched on it a couple of times, Kirsty, when you've mentioned that, you know, you did your own research for the nail yard, and Scotland wasn't quite ready for, you know, the concept you had in your head. And, you know, what's really interesting is that, you know, we want to really kind of break the mold of how wellness is delivered and viewed in the UK, not just in Scotland. So having you on board and having the experience you've got of being in countries where, you know, wellness is really elevated, you know, the fact that the treatment rooms aren't in the basement, they're up on the 34th floor, you know, that's something that Lindsay and I have talked about from the start. So what really are the kind of differences in how wellness is done in the UK versus the rest of the world? What are your kind of observations of that?
I think it's more the culture, and I think certainly in Asia, I think they're brought up with it. So from the food to doing self-care rituals, you know, from Ayurvedic, you know, doing Indian head massage where the grandmother does the grandchildren's hair, you know, massaging oil into it. It's done in the home, and it's done from a very early age. Traditional Chinese medicine, exactly the same. It's you know, very, very common just to go for some herbs or go to a Chinese doctor to prescribe something. It's also a lot about prevention. So they don't wait till they're sick. They are always on, you know, looking how they can, you know, prevent. They go for consultations all the time, you know, making sure that everything's working. They do exercise, but they're also very much into their family. They're very much into the community, which I think is a big part of wellness. And I think my view of wellness has probably changed over the years because of that. You know, I think we all thought it was pounding the treadmill or doing 100 sun salutations every morning or starving ourselves and just eating a certain type of food. And then I think we realized that there's so many other parts to that well-being or wellness, and that's social, and it's being happy at your work, and it's spending time with your family, and it's that love and that understanding, and all of that together with, you know, being healthy and doing, I think, things that make you happy, make you smile. You know, rather than pounding the treadmill, I'd rather go and walk my dog and have a conversation with her for, you know, 10 minutes or 15 minutes rather than, you know, having headphones on. I think it's just finding your own part of wellness that's or your own way in wellness that's important. But I think that's the biggest difference overseas, certainly in Asia, is that they are definitely brought up with it. They don't think anything of going for a treatment. that would be quite normal to have a Thai massage. It's also very accessible. It's not expensive. It can be expensive. You know, we talked about Mandarin Tokyo being £500. That's obviously a luxury, you know, way to have a massage. But there's also probably my favourite massage in Bangkok is on Sukhumvit Soi 8, and it was a little therapist, or not little, but a therapist who was a medical Thai masseur who couldn't speak any English, but would give me half an hour of sometimes hell, but the most amazing Thai massage you probably ever had. And I think it cost £20 for an hour and a half. It's accessible, you know, so if you make something accessible and it's built into the culture, and that means that everybody can experience it. So it's not just the wealthy or the people that can afford it, it's really everybody. And I think that's quite important as well. Or that's probably the biggest difference. I mean, if you think about now, when was the last time that well, because of the closure, but even before closure, when would be the last time you'd actually go and have a massage or have a facial?
Well, I get my massage from Lindsay. I'm good at that, because I couldn't move basically if Lindsay didn't do a massage on me. But I know what you mean. It's the treat part of treatment that people kind of focus on. That it is a treat, and you know, you go maybe once, and that's you for the year kind of thing. And so I think you're right. It's about, I think a lot of it as well is to do with the language that's used, and the stature that the industry is given in society. So, you know, recently, in the first lockdown, you know, all the language that was being used at Westminster and places like that to call us massage parlours and to call us and all this kind of stuff, and
beauticians
and all that kind of, and people just not understanding what you know, certainly probably more the spa and massage part of the industry is about. And how do we change that? What do we do? What do we educate people? Do we shout at the rooftops? But there's change happening in government. We have now, certainly in England, at Westminster, been recognised as an industry, which is great, because we weren't before. So, you know, how do we change people's mindset?
I think it is education. I think if you think about our probably childhood, when were we taught about wellness or going for treatments or facials? Whereas that's the big difference in Asia, is that, you know, children are brought up with this from a very early age, and that's education. So that's education from the home, in the schools. You know, if you look at what Japanese children get to eat in school, I mean, it's super healthy. They're taught at very early age, whereas our children in this country are not taught that. So I think it needs to start there. It needs to start as that education piece. If wellness is well-being is going to be a part of, you know, such a big part of our lives, we can't suddenly change at 18 and 20 and start thinking a different way to the last 18 years. You know, we're having to educate ourselves, I think, in it. And I think probably all of us have had to do that. And we've done that. We've been lucky to be in this industry. Well, what about people that are not in this industry?
Yeah,
you know, what to eat, you know, how do you actually get to that point where you know, and well-being can be quite expensive sometimes. You know, if you want to eat really good food or eat organic, it can be quite expensive. So people will always, maybe, or not always, but sometimes there'll be a choice there to maybe take cheaper options. Again, it's making it accessible to everybody, and not just to a certain level of person who can afford to do it.
I think as well, the pandemic has shown us that a couple of things really, that, you know, you going out and walking your dog is your wellness. Brilliant. You can go and you can do that.
Yeah.
Also, just again, sort of going back to the industry in the UK and how it's perceived. For example, at the moment, Lindsay, as a remedial massage therapist, is not allowed to practice. However, and this is certainly nothing against chiropractors and physiotherapists, but they are allowed to, you know, and I would love to understand, Lindsay, do you know what the science?
Yeah, it's not nothing to do with science. It's to do with the fact that as a massage therapist, regardless of whether you are Swedish or or massage therapist or aromatherapy or sports and remedial, we are not state registered. So you'll see chiropractors, physiotherapists, state registered, organisations like the HCPC, which are is what paramedics are also state registered as. Because in this day and age, you can still go and do a week's worth of massage training and yourself a massage therapist.
Yeah.
Marketed as complementary, so that's a little bit seen as a little bit woo-woo. But we haven't. It's just down to yes, state registered. That's all it is.
So we need to put that on our next list of things to do. Yeah, make sure that remedial and sports massage therapists are state registered, because, you know, joking aside, you know, the pain that I get having a massage by mobility. And Lindsay's been putting you've been putting loads of sort of short videos on our YouTube page and our Facebook page and LinkedIn, because you know that there are people at home at the moment. My partner's one of them who can hardly move because, you know, they're sitting at desks, and you've had an amazing reaction to that.
Yeah, it's been surprising, but not surprising.
But I think that's probably the industry as a whole, though, isn't it? It's so the range of qualifications goes from a 2-day nail tech course to a 4-year, you know, advanced therapist level. You know, the range of that is just phenomenal. And I think there's a lack of understanding there as well of what the difference of that is. As you say, you can do a week's worth of massage, but then what's different to somebody doing 4 years of massage?
I know,
you know, you're studying, the level's amazing. And it was a much easier, I think, or much simpler when I trained. And I trained 30, God, I don't want to show my age here now, but I think it was about 34 years ago as a therapist. And there was only 2 qualifications really available. There was Tedesco and there was City and Guilds, and that was what you could choose between. City and Guilds was obviously a paid course, the likes of Mary Read School of Beauty, and 1-year course was minimum, and the City and Guilds was 2 years. And that's the only way you could get to be a beauty therapist at that time, was to do either of those courses. So both of them really quite comprehensive. But I think now to allow the more people to apply, you know, the qualifications and the entry has changed. But I think that's something the industry are trying to change back again.
There needs to be some level of regulation. You know, there needs to be a minimum period of time, and the organisation who's providing the training needs to have X, Y, and Z.
Yeah, but there's also so much demand. I mean, all of the spas that I've worked in this country do not have enough therapists. They cannot get enough qualified therapists or the level of therapists that they need. And they're always having to supplement with freelance therapists who are working maybe in 6 different spas. You know, so you're not going to get that. It's not just about loyalty, but that person who's working for you all the time, who knows your SOPs, who knows exactly how to deliver the service. So that's a big challenge, I think, as well.
Yeah. Is that because you think there's a drop in interest in the industry? You know, people don't want to be therapists because
I think there probably is. And I think it's because, again, there's maybe, you know, when we did beauty therapy, you know, I think it was still really looked upon as a really great career to go into, and look what we've done with it. But, you know, it's hard work. It's really, really hard work. I mean, now, you know, you do 5 massages a day max, sometimes 4. I mean, we were doing 8, you know, at that time, but, you know, we didn't know any different. That was just our column. You know, we went in and did it. It's really hard work. And you know, sometimes you were shattered at the end of the day. Sometimes I'm talking, and I know I can talk too much, but, you know, you're taking on a lot from each guest or client, you know, and you're absorbing that. Sometimes they're really down. It's a lot of negative energy. I remember times having to go home and lie on a bed, you know, just shattered. And a lot of people don't want to do that. They don't want to do that challenging, difficult part of it, I think.
It's a shame, isn't it?
Yeah. It is a shame.
There's an element, I think, as well, probably the beauty side of it, that I think that it's not much of a career option, you know.
Absolutely.
And same with hairdressers. Okay, you're a bit stupid, become a hairdresser. It's terrible that those sort of, that's the perception that people have. You know, it's hugely highly skilled. I mean, I did my massage training only about 6-7 years ago, and the amount of anatomy and physiology that I had to learn, it's incredible. You know, it really is. And so it's changing people's perception that going into, you know, beauty or spa or wellness or whatever is some sort of easy option, or much of a career at the end of it. What are you ever going to do with that? Or, you know, well, you failed all your exams, go to beauty school kind of thing. And it's just not the case.
But I think on the other side, I think a lot of parents maybe don't want their kids to do beauty therapy because it's not the career they want for them. They want them to be, you know, doctors and lawyers and so on. But no,
look at the career that you've had, Kirsty.
Exactly. And exactly. But this is the thing that people don't understand. And I've had this conversation with college leaders and tutors and things about the use of the word beauty. If we dropped that and just talked about therapy, that just it up completely now. And I'm not trying to say that by doing nails and brows and things like that, it's not important. It is for people's mental health. It can, you know, it's amazing what a little bit of aesthetic work on you can actually do for your mental health. But it's almost like that word beauty. You say that,
downplaying it.
Automatically go, oh, right, okay then, you know, and you're not taken very seriously. And there was a brilliant article that somebody wrote back in June of last year when we were trying so hard to get the industry back open, you know, and I think there's an element of, you know, so many females working in this industry as well. There's a lot of bias out there about what we actually do. There was a wonderful article that a lady wrote, and, you know, she said, you know, that it's about getting people back to work for the mental and physical health of the nation, supporting women. Most of, you know, a lot of the businesses in our industry are women led, you know, and it's almost like the last kind of taboo that you're just not letting us work, and you're just not understanding the revenue that we generate and the wellness that we put out there to the wider population. I'll try and find that article, and we can maybe put the link to it in the blurb for the podcast.
Yeah, that would be good.
It's a really, really interesting one, and it kind of struck me last year when the industry was shut and we were campaigning to get it open, that barber shops were allowed to do beard trims, but yet
exactly
in Scotland we can't do a facial treatment. And it's just like it's there's a lot of work to be done to sort of re-educate and refocus people's opinions and it's more of an understanding, really, isn't it, of what we do. And there is a lot of good work going on out there, but
I was just going to say the same. There's some amazing work going on, and I think, you know, the people that are involved in the industry have had such a struggle to get where they've got to, you know, and I think it's got a long way to go, you know, and we just need to support them, you know.
I mean, Lindsay and I've sat in meetings, Lindsay, haven't we, with, you know, we're going off on tangent a little bit here, but I quite like it. But we've sat in meetings, you know, talking about money and raising finance and all that kind of stuff. And, you know, generally these meetings tend to be, especially if you're going into the banking sector with gentlemen of a certain age, or if you're speaking to lawyers, very often, you know, it's the male population that you're dealing with very often. And again, it's that kind of glaze that you get in the front of the eyes. Now, not all of them, because we've got some great guys on our team as well who just get it. But it's really interesting that you almost feel that you're apologising for what you're doing. And then when you mention the amount of money that you're looking to raise, we've had people, men, physically take a step back from us and go, I don't think that's going to happen, pet. You know, and you're just like, oh. You know,
and I think during my career I've learned how, because I've been in lots of situations with general managers and so on, who again will poo-hoo the spa a little bit a lot of the time because they don't understand it, a lot of the time because they don't think it's that important, you know, and it's almost like an uphill struggle, or you're almost trying to convince your own company that this is a good thing to do. And I was given a bit of advice, which was good advice quite a long time ago, is always talk to your audience. So don't sometimes, you sometimes have to change the way that you're speaking. So if it's a general manager, you go in with figures. Don't start talking about crystals and massage and whatever, scents and smells, because they're going to glaze over. So go in there and talk his language, because if you start talking his language, then he's going to listen. So tell him how much money you're going to make him. Tell him how many bedrooms you're going to fill for him. Tell him, and that was such good advice. And that's what I try to do now, is that I'm more than happy to talk about the fluffy stuff because I love it, but at the same time, I know that I have to turn that round, especially when we're dealing with finance and funding and, raising capital and so on. We need to talk business, chat, that we're talking about numbers, and we're talking about return on investment, and we're talking about, how many years this is going to happen. And that will keep them engaged. That's my, not always,
yeah.
but, a lot of the time it's definitely, and it's researching who you're speaking to. It's always going in and having, what do they like to do? Or, no, I don't mean stalking, I mean research. Research the people you're talking to, and, find out so that you can actually maybe speak to them on a different level.
I saw an interesting, actually striking statistic from the Global Wellness Institute today, that 65% of beauty consumers now link the beauty and wellness categories together, and that completion of beauty with wellness is even higher for men at 75%.
Wow, there you go.
That's interesting.
Yeah, men needing a bit of pampering.
Yeah. And I think when you go in and you start talking, me, because I'm a bit of a nerd, but I go in and I talk a little bit more scientifically. I do, and a bit like, like you're saying, Kirsty, if you go in with figures and statistics and you say stress causes however many percentage of ailments in men, and that kind of thing, that always pricks up the ears. But yeah, 75%.
There you go.
Again, I think COVID has given the wellness industry a bit of a helping hand if we're trying to find a positive and a negative with what's happened, because wellness now is really at the top of the agenda, and you only have to, everybody's so aware now of their mental health and their physical health. I guess our job now as an industry is to keep that momentum going and make sure that, almost what you were saying at the beginning, Kirsty, about in Asia, it's not reactionary, it's very proactive as to how we look after our health, and how we switch that in this country, because I hate to say it, but I really think we've got a tidal wave of mental health issues coming our way, and that's where we need to start. And so as an industry, we can really support the NHS and other practitioners to be that kind of second line of help, I guess. That's certainly the way that we see it. It's always been about a sustainable way of looking after your wellness, so it's not just a one-off part of the treatment, it's a thing. You, Lindsay?
Yeah, and a bit like you were saying, Kirsty, when you were in Beijing, people actually use it as a prevention as opposed to a cure, whereas it's very much the norm for people in the UK in particular to brush it aside, keep powering through, and it'll be fine, until it manifests into something far greater than it originally was, and you find yourself in a situation where it's like, well, what do I do now?
Yeah. And also I think the way that we spa needs to change a little bit. I think people think that they can go to a spa for a few days and that's going to miraculously solve everything, and then you're going to come back and do whatever you've been doing the same, and that's your well-being, and that's not, it has to be lifestyle. And I think that's the big difference about, when I worked in Asia, people really do think of it as lifestyle. If you look at the principles of Ayurvedic medicine or TCM, it is about lifestyle. It's not about doing it once or twice. It's something that is implemented into your life. And we all know that to get true wellness or well-being, we have to change our lives or, implement these things. It can be just little small things, can't it? And the way we spa really is quite an old-fashioned spa model almost. It's about going for a day spa. It's about drinking champagne with the girls. It's about having a 2-course lunch. It's about having one treatment. It's about hanging out at the pool and then leaving. Really.
Yeah.
You know?
You've just kind of outlined my idea of hell.
Yeah. And I think we will see new spas emerging, which I think, you know, is happening at the moment, you know, and some, not going to talk about, but the other projects I'm working on as well, you know, I like to do things that have authenticity, that have proven results, even if it's, you know, saunas and steam and plunge pools and it's that thermal journey. We don't teach people in this country how to do a thermal journey, you know, properly. We do it in, you know, they do it in Austria, they do it in Germany, but we don't actually do it here. Most people go into the sauna for 5 minutes, they're out, they're bored. They're then going into a chlorine pool. They're then out, they're bored. They then go back into the sauna, you know, with chlorine on their swimming costume. They're getting the fumes from the chlorine. And then, you know, that's the well-being journey. That's the thermal journey. It's not actually really going to do that much to you. You know, you have to be taught how to do that properly before you're going to get that you know, that real effect from it.
And that just goes back to that relationship you were talking about.
Yeah. You know, if you look at Baden-Baden or places like that, you know, that have that authenticity of that thermal, you know, journey or bathing, you know, you'll see that you do a sequence of, you know, different thermal temperature rooms and bathing to create different effects.
Yeah.
It's a purpose, doesn't it? And that's the point that, you know, at the moment in the UK, it doesn't have a purpose other than to have a jolly with your partner and drink some champagne. And
not all spas are the same. No, they're not. Some are doing amazing, you know, but I think just if you look at the kind of core of it, you know, of how we spa, that's really how, again, we've been taught to spa. Or it's how the industries, you know, or the market has taught us how to spa.
Yeah, that's exactly it. We may have answered this question, Kirsty, but just kind of very briefly, what excites you then about the opportunities sort of for wellness post-COVID in Scotland? You've obviously come back, you're working on fabulous projects and other projects. So, you know, things are happening. So what excites you about the future?
I think because people are going to be looking at more true wellness and authenticity. I think people are understanding. I think developers are understanding the need for that. I think there's going to be a lot more nature and outside well-being, which I think is amazing. You know, I mean, we heard about doctors prescribing walks in the Scottish countryside. You know, we're in the right place to do this. We've got so much nature, so much water. It's using all of that, and I think that developers and owners are really going to start to look at that. You know, they really they want to look outside the box now. You know, I think they want something different, and they want to draw people. And I think the market's looking for something different as well. You know, I really do. I think there's so much opportunity in this country to do.
I don't know if we've mentioned this before in our podcast, Lindsay, but when lockdown hit last year, our architect said to us that this is the best time to not have a building, and we, you know, and actually, you know, there's so much truth in that. We've, again, a lot of the concepts at PS that we were already working on are seem to be what are coming through with the trends now. So the things that you've mentioned, water, outside space, being apart but being together, and those were all the things that we actually wanted to have at PS anyways. You know, we certainly, from our point of view, it's only kind of solidified the kind of plans that we want to know that this is the way that things are going. I'm just trying to be hugely positive about, you know, COVID giving us all these opportunities. We've got to try and find the good.
I think so, and I think also, you know, spa in all seasons. You know, I think we're scared to go outside in winter a lot of the time. You know, but it's sometimes the best way. If you go to China, everybody in China goes to hot springs in the winter to warm themselves because the water's scarily hot. Sometimes the pools are about 42 degrees. But you go in there to warm yourself to your bones. And it does really work. You know, you do really feel like you're warm to the bones. You know, in Japan, they spa outside in onsens in the winter as well. You know, you're surrounded by snow and you're in this warm bath outside. You know, we need to re-educate ourselves on that because it's such an amazing experience.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Oh, I'm excited now. I'm so glad. It's just really interesting to get your perspective on it from having the experience that you've got. I almost feel like in the UK, you know, and it's not to diss everyone, because there are people working very hard and there's some amazing spas and there are great things happening, but I just think, yeah, there's a huge opportunity now to really kind of shake it up a little bit and make it a lifestyle choice, a part of your lifestyle, sorry, rather than just a reactionary thing.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And enjoyable, you know, social, you know, you can hang out with your friends, but you're still doing something that's really good for you.
Yeah, yeah. We'll definitely have champagne at PS. So I don't want anyone thinking that we're not going to have.
Clean champagne. Clean champagne.
Well, we talked about
organic champagne.
We'll have organic. Yeah, of course it will be. Of course. Very, very briefly, just to finish then, Kirsty, what does wellness mean to you?
My goodness, do you know, I think this has changed so much over the years. I kind of touched on this earlier that, you know, it used to be pounding the gym every morning and, you know, really being careful with diet, you know, and being so strict on myself. And I don't do any of that now. No, I do some of it, but, you know, it's more for me about doing things that really make me smile, that make me happy, hanging out with friends and family, doing things for others. I think that's really important. You know, you can get so much from that too. It's the love, support, the compassion, it's being understanding. And really the biggest thing is honestly that love, friends and family. You know, it has to be, it's the massive thing for me. Having a fulfilling career, it used to be all the be all and end all, I think, for me. It's still really important for me, but I want to do things that I really love doing. You know, and I think if you can get up every day, that kind of well-being is amazing. I walk my dog a lot. I do drink champagne. Not every day. I eat healthy, but I'm also a little bit naughty with my food. You know, I don't deprive myself of anything. You know, I try and get, you know, out every day and do some exercise. I love yoga. I'm missing yoga classes. Going to try and get into more meditation. I've always struggled with it. Always. I can't keep my mind on anything for very long. But
you need to have a wee listen to our podcast with meditation, world-renowned meditation.
I know, he's supposed to be amazing. He's supposed to be absolutely amazing.
Yes.
I've tried. I just my mind wanders. I'm really bad.
That's fine. It's okay for your mind to wander.
Yeah, well, there we go then. There we go.
Yeah, I had the same problem, and we talked to Andrew's one of our practitioners that we're hugely grateful is working with us at PS, and we did a podcast with him, and I said exactly the same thing, didn't I, Lindsay? I said, you know, I was put off meditation because I'd been told in the past, empty your mind, and I can't do that. Most people can, you know, because your brain doesn't allow you to do that, and he actually says in a lot of his guided meditations, your mind will wander, that's fine. You'll hear noises outside, that's fine. But just bring it back when you can. You know, it's almost like, you know, it's not a heavy version of meditation that he does. It's very accessible. So you need to. Well,
it's this clearing your mind and sit uncomfortably, which is what my kind of understanding of meditation is, you know, and then I start to get really, you know, fidgety because I'm squirming about the place. But yeah, I'll definitely try it again. And probably the one other thing that I would say is well-being for me is being in Scotland and getting to go and visit the Outer Hebrides, which is definitely my happy place. There's one beach that I go to that's about 5 miles long, and I walk over the top of that, and that is definitely the happy place, I would say, if I could be anywhere.
That's a nice way to end it then. Thank you, Kirsty.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Lindsay, have you got...
So, as always, please like and share and comment and whatever else it is that the kids and contact us for more information on creating your bespoke online wellness programs for you and your employees to ensure that they remain motivated and engaged in your business. So find us at pswellnessedinburgh.com, and Kirsty, thank you.
You're very welcome.
And join us next time for more wellness in your world.